From footy to founder, after a stint at 2 AFL clubs, Fergus Watts created a marketing empire and is now celebrating a decade in the industry.
And it's a family affair, we love that. Fergus, founder and executive chairman of Bastion Collective, joins us now, along with his brother, Australian CEO Jack Watts. Thank you both for being with us, welcome.
Thank you.
We're curious about your company that you have because it does a few different things. So in your words, what is Bastion Collective all about?
Well, we're a really broad marketing communications agency, and I'll take a step back. If you look at the landscape, like most big industries, there's sort of 4 or 5 big players, and they might be names, you know, like WPP and Publicis and Omnicom and those sort of Dentsu, those sort of businesses. There's lots of tiny, very small Australian agencies, and we're the sort of rare beast in the middle. We're a collection of small communications agencies that work as one big one, and we're now the biggest independent in the market. So offer services across a broad range of topics, creative, sponsorship at events, PR, research, so really broad range of marketing communications.
There's a lot going on in there, isn't there?
There is a lot going on.
It certainly is. So Fergus, you started this business, but a lot of people at home would know that you spent a large chunk of your life playing professional Aussie rules football at 2 clubs. So the question is, how do you end up going from that to what you're doing now?
Well, I had to do something because my footy career finished abruptly and sort of disappointingly quickly with a combination of a bunch of injuries and just being no good at football.
I think you should be hard on your ankle because I think that might have been the problem.
Yeah, right? That's right. So I had some issues there. But then, look, I came out and I was 22. I worked 6 months at an advertising business and then I really wanted to go and do my own thing. And what I found as a 22, 23-year-old was that what I could do and what I thought I could do at the time with no experience was go and find people who were great at something. And so I've spent the last 10 years doing that, finding people who are experts in their field, creating an environment that's a high performance environment, is an environment where they can be as good as they can be, and sort of letting it go from there. And that's really been my focus on everything we've been doing, is really just finding the best people we can.
Can you give us an example of how it works? When does that, really sort of harmonise well?
Well, all of our businesses operate as their own entities, right? We don't have competing agencies within the group, so we differ in many ways from a lot of holding companies that do have a number of competing agencies. So we don't have competing agencies, and what we've done is through a combination of acquisition and startups, we tend to build the business around a key person. So most of the time the CEOs of our business own equity in their company, so they've really got that family business owner-operator real mentality, but they can tap into a larger group, which gives them a larger network and ability to create integrated campaigns for their clients.
And skin in the game is such an important part of it, I imagine. Jack, how did you come to work with your brother on this, and how's it going working with your brother?
Well, I had a sort of similar dream to Fergus to play footy and truly wasn't good enough. So I was selling surfing.
I feel like I back you guys. I think you're probably pretty handy.
You did far better than either of us did in our footballing careers.
But anyway, I cut you off, Jack.
I was sort of the same as Ferg. Spat out of uni, needed a job, and I was selling surfing sponsorship up and down the Geelong Road for a number of sort of Victorian and Australian surfing events out the back of a Commodore station wagon. And Ferg sort of took me in off the street, and I built the sponsorship business of the group and now sit across the entire group for the last handful of years.
Right. And harmoniously as brothers, I mean, there's often a lot of fighting between family, particularly over who gets the top bunk in the early years. Now you've got a business to deal with. How is it between
it works well, and our policy is always families fight, but they still come together at the dinner table, and I think that's been fantastic in being a partnership in business, is you can tell each other what you really think. There's no stepping on eggshells. We've had, and our father's involved as well, we've had stand-up fights, and then you walk into the next meeting and you're all best friends again. So it seems to work well. Because
it must be a bit of an unruly beast, like trying to keep lots of different agencies and concerns together. Well,
we're a big business now, and it's sort of, we've been going 10 years, but we've really put it together in the last few. So we've got 100 staff in Sydney and 100 staff in Melbourne, and Ferg's leading the charge over in Los Angeles with about 20 staff and a small operation in China. So it's hard to keep track of, but what we do really well is we've got good people running each business, good chairs overseeing that CEO, so the businesses are run by true experts who deal with their clients.
And the marketing side of things and the advisory side of things, is there a lot of crossover in those two parts of the business?
Well, there is more and more, and the ability to offer multiple services to a client. Everything we've always been about is create more opportunities for our staff and our clients, right? And if that's what we're all about, and that's been our focus, then every time a client needs to go somewhere else for an add-on service for something that we've delivered, we're sort of not creating the best service environment for that client. So that's where we've gone and expanded into things like government relations and community engagement, and into crisis and reputation management, because those advisory services, they do complement well with the marketing side of things, and that gives the best opportunity for our clients to get the best service they can.
One of the things that we're excited to ask you guys about tonight, because it's rare that we get marketing whizzes who also have a strong football background, that we get to talk to you a week after AFLX, which is still got a lot of people in the southern states scratching their heads a little bit. What did you guys make of it? Has it been well presented as a marketing exercise?
Look, I think for what replaced, the traditional pre-season competition that was waning, look, I think it's a good first crack. I think people responded, it rated really well. I know there are a lot of issues with the perceptions of it cannibalising the women's competition, which I completely understand, but it's a good take on a game that typically stays the same for 24 rounds plus finals.
There you go. See, that's a pretty crisp explanation of what's going on in AFL. Actually, I haven't had that before.
Thank you.
It's like a little tasting plate.
No, exactly. Look, is there any kind of Australian rules tie-in at all in what you're doing these days, or is that a chapter of your life that's closed and not being reopened?
Look, we do. We work with football clubs and the AFL in our sponsorship business primarily, and we do work with them in a range of other businesses. But we're not, in terms of our group, we're not a sports group. We're not a football-orientated group. And that gives us the breadth and diversity to really be able to work with a range of clients across a range of services, not truly focus on sport specifically.
Now, we also heard that a couple of years ago you decided to give your staff unlimited annual leave. Like, what's behind a move like that, and how does it work in practice? Well,
look, I think it came to me over Christmas one time. It's sort of, we had so many staff that are long-termers with us, and our policy is, well, Ferg and I are young. Ferg's 33, I'm 31. And you sort of never understood why people couldn't take holidays when they wanted to, even if they were doing a good job. So our policy is, if you've been with us for 3 years and we trust you, it means we trust you and you're doing a good job. So if you can do that and take 8 weeks holiday a year, well then fantastic. So you should be able to.
Is this paid leave?
All paid leave, yeah.
Wow.
So there's probably a lot of business owners at home watching who are pretty interested in how this is going. Are they taking you up on the offer? Are they taking weeks and weeks, or are they? I mean, how's it playing out?
No, look, everyone is very respectful of the thing. The thing is, we're big believers that people want to do a good job, right? They want to be challenged in the work that they do. They want to evolve their skill set, and they want to develop who they are. The thought that someone's going to then go away for 6 months and not turn up for work, it just doesn't happen, and it doesn't put the trust in the people. And we put a lot of trust in our people, and we put a lot of trust in our staff, and we've done a range of different things, from creating emotional intelligence courses to allow them to better understand their own narrative and who they are as people, allows them to develop themselves as a human being, not just be a little bit better at being an account manager or whatever it is their service is. It's those sort of things that really become a two-way street, and we expect a lot out of our staff. We're an agency business, we're in the service game, so everyone works hard, but our number one value is to make each other's lives better, and that's by being honest, by being direct, and by being forthright, and be able to create an environment where people can be as good as they can be.
Just got to hire the right people in the first place, I guess, don't you?
That's right.
Expansion plans from here?
Well, we're expanding internationally, so we sort of think we've got a model that works globally, but I think more broadly, if you look at the broader context of the industry, there used to be the great Australian agencies, the household names, the Singletons, the Mitchells down in Melbourne, and they don't exist anymore, and they've been swallowed up by the multinationals. So for us, that's what we believe we've got an opportunity to create, that great Australian agency that can help reimagine the Australian identity. We certainly have an identity problem as a country, and in the communications business and the marketing and advertising business, we think we've got an opportunity to be that great Australian agency that can help solve that problem.
Well, it's been great to learn a bit about the agency and the family business of it all. Fergus, Jack, Watts, thank you very much for joining us there.
Pleasure. Thank you.